days was a remarkable figure in the American theater, as well as in the films. But her contribution, her enormous philanthropy, the work that she did toward helping other institutions, and I think it's appropriate that the award is in her name. She was born in Washington, D.C., and I've had a lot of experiences in D.C. in the theater, so I'm enormously proud to be given this award tonight. It means a lot to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spacey.
Thank you.
It is my enormous pleasure to present the Helen Hayes tribute to Kevin Spacey. Thank you very much. I can't see anybody. Can they turn the house lights up? Because I can't see anybody. It's just going to suck not to be able to see anybody. Somebody's backstage going, it is different. I thought it was going to be the same award everybody got, but it's different. It doesn't get any better than this. I first, even though he's not here, without question, to suddenly see up on screen Bill Clinton. I love theater. Look, you all know, regardless of what your politics are, he's a remarkable man who I've had the pleasure of knowing for a very long time. And he's a man who remembers everything. I remember I told him we were in New York, and we were in a very busy Starbucks. And it was noisy, and there were lots of people taking pictures because we were in the Starbucks. And he said to me, he said, "How's your mom?" And I said, "She's good, she's good." He said, "Where's she living now?" I said, "Well, she was in Atlanta, but now she's in Seattle." I go, "Oh, she's a good woman." I said, "Thank you." I'm not kidding you, about a year and a half later, I get a phone call. I'm on location, I'm doing some film, and it's the president on the phone. He says, "Kevin." I said, "Yeah, doesn't your mom live in Seattle?" He said, "Yeah, how do you know that?" I said, "Oh, you told me one time." I said, "Oh. Yeah, why?" "Well, I'm in Seattle." So I did a lunch and a speech. I thought I'd call her and invite her to come. So I said, "Okay," so I gave him my mom's number. I know what you're thinking. So he called my mother, and he asked for Mrs. Spacey, and she never responds to Mrs. Spacey. My last name is Fowler, and Spacey is my middle name, and she hung up on him. And then he tried back, and he said, "Mrs. Spacey," and she hung up on him. So he called me and said, "You gave me the wrong number." And I said, no, just call back and ask for Mrs. Fowler. So anyway, he did, and my mother did speak to him, and he had a cargo pick her up, and took her to this speech. He gave this speech. He had a wonderful lunch. Took pictures with her that day. And I'll never forget that, the kindness of that. My mother was diagnosed a few weeks later with a brain tumor, and that whole last year with my mother, she always talked about that, the extraordinary kindness that he showed. And so tonight he's displayed it again, and I thank him very much for introducing the film. I could never have imagined back in 1974 when I was sitting in my local movie theater watching Airport. I liked Airport. I was a big fan of the sequels. Jack Lemmon was in Airport 77, by the way. That remarkable ageless stowaway named Helen Hayes, that someday I would be standing on a stage and receiving an award in her remarkable name. The work that she did, her philanthropy, her love of the American theater, her passion for it, makes me deeply honored to accept this award tonight. And in a way, I suppose, all of us who go into this business we're a bit like stowaways, sneaking in, hoping we won't get caught, hoping they won't tell us we're not good enough or talented enough. I think all of us start every job thinking, are they gonna fire me? And is it gonna happen before we open? But we're lucky in that way that we do get to travel with each other and have these experiences together and make families. And that, for me, is the best part of it. The work, the extraordinary exploration that we all get to have in whatever form of expression that we find ourselves on a stage doing. We come together as a unit, as a family, we're all up for it, and God knows we're not doing it for the money. You certainly know that here in DC. It's like Carol Merrill right behind me, isn't it? It's like just right there, in case I need him. I'm enormously grateful, I'm enormously lucky. The mentors and the teachers in my life, Robert Corelli, my drama teacher, Stephen Norton, my drama teacher from junior high, Joe Papp, without question, Mike Nichols, Alan Pakula, Howard Davies, Jonathan Miller, Manny Eisenberg, Stephen J. Cannell, Neil Simon, Ethel Fugard, Eugene O'Neill, Al Pacino, Jamie Foley, Brian Singer, Sam Mendes. So many, so many. It doesn't get any better than this. And the great thing about it is that we forge friendships. And it doesn't get any better than when I finally had enough money to get an apartment in New York, and I had to get a letter of recommendation for the board, you know, to like see if I was like okay, that I wasn't a criminal. And I asked Jack Lemmon, who had been my idol and my friend and my coworker, and I've been working together for about 2 years at this point, and I said, will you write a letter for me, a recommendation? And he said, yeah, sure, kid, whatever. And I have this letter to this day, and it said, to whom it may concern, I've been working with Kevin Spacey now for about 2 years, and as far as I know, he's a terrific young man, and the only thing he's ever stolen are my scenes. Doesn't get any better than that. I want to thank, the voice you heard on that film was Nathan Darrow, who's a young actor who was with Arena in the balcony. Nathan was in our production of Richard III, and so we just spent the past year together doing an extraordinary experience that we had in 12 cities around the country. And if those of you who are in this town have not yet seen the wonderful production of Long Day's Journey at the Arena, you have until May 6th to go check out his wonderful performance as Edmund. I have had many experiences here in Washington. I've done about 6 plays here. At the National, at the Kennedy Center, at the Barter, their winter campus, the University of Virginia. That's right, I did the mousetrap, okay? I did the mousetrap. But one of my experiences and memories that I have is when I was here doing my very, very first out-of-town tryout for my first Broadway play, which was Ghosts. I was doing it with Lee Goldman, and we were playing the Eisenhower Theater. And I'll never forget, it was August 12th, 1982, and I was sitting in the green room of the Eisenhower Theater. And one of the cast members came up to me and said, "Did you hear Henry Fonda passed away?" And Henry Fonda, like Lemon, had been a huge, huge inspiration to me. He was one of the great actors who never allowed Hollywood glory to go to his head, and he continued to come back to the theater. In fact, many people think his last performance was on Golden Pond. It wasn't. It was in a play in Connecticut called Showdown at the Adobe Motel, which I saw twice. And I found myself in the green room when this news came to me. And I remember feeling, sad because he had an extraordinary life, an incredible actor. And then I looked around the green room and I saw like 6, like 8, like 10 posters. Henry Fonda in, Clarence Darrow, Henry Fonda in. First Monday in October, Henry Fonda in, 2 for the Seesaw. And I thought, I'm sitting in the same green room where Henry Fonda sat. And it was my first Broadway play. And it was my equity card. And I thought, I'm starting my journey. I'm beginning my journey. I could have never imagined that all these years later, 30 years this August, that I would be just a few blocks away accepting this remarkable award. And so everybody in the balcony and everybody out there who has a dream, f***ing live it.
And so that wraps up the 28th Annual Helen Hayes Awards. I'm Mark Beachy for the Maryland Theater Guide. We'll see you again next year.